For those that don't know me, my name's Russell Bennett. I'm the Manager of Business Systems at Southern Grampian Shire Council. So I've been working for Council for a bit over 4 years. What am I starting? The first is thank you. Thank you for supporting us, for coming here. I know a lot of you have travelled a long way. It's the first time we've pulled this together, I think. Okay, getting some good feedback, which is great, but couldn't happen without all your support. And I do apologise to those in MavTech that I've been hounding with emails and Yammer posts to buy tickets to get out here. But it's great to see you all here. It's great to see the support from all our sponsors as well, taking a bit of a leap of faith, again, for a first time running this conference. But I think it shows that there is a real gap in the market, I think, for digital transformation and understanding and educating for rural communities. And that's what we're trying to do with this conference and what we're doing around here. And it's not just us, it's a regional thing. So if we can transform our region, it's going to be for the betterment of everyone around here. So, and hopefully you've seen some of the wonderful sites around Hamilton. Just a couple of quick happy snaps of around here. It's a wonderful place. If you do get the time, I encourage you to go and visit our wonderful natural attractions. So, what I will cover, I'm going to go through a couple of key early steps that we did at Southern Grampian Shire to get some of the momentum of how we got to today. And then I'm actually going to really unpack some of the solutions and go into the whys, the costs, the good, the bad, the ugly. And won't be able to go through everything we've done, but just a few of the key ones. So hopefully you can learn from our experience, miss some of the pitfalls that we've stumbled over, but yeah. First thing I'm going to mention, alignment. I'm going to call it getting everyone on the bus. On that bus there is our CEO and our directors and our mayor and our councillors, and that's Hugh and I at the back trying to push them along. Essentially, without their support, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. You need to get them on board to, essentially they're going to hold the budget, and we need them to help. Well, I think we've worked, at the start it was Hugh and I really pushing. Now it's starting to actually get driven a little bit by these senior guys a lot more, which is great. And the big kicker is the why there, alignment. Why are you doing it? You don't just do it so you can say you're digitally transforming and you've got some smart sensors and it's awesome and some data coming in. What's the point of it all? For us, our why was really around an eco-dev approach. We're a small rural community, we're a declining population, we're an ageing population. If we don't do anything, we're going to be in trouble. You look at our 10-year financial plan and it's not a good look with where the dollars are going. So we need to change things around. We've got rate capping, so we can't get more revenue through that. We need to attract more residents, we need to attract new businesses, we need to attract more tourism. That's our why. And the why could be different for all of you. It really depends where you are, what challenges you've got, but I think you need to understand that, and that's what you need to drive towards. So the start off for us was our digital plan, which was in 2016, and we actually partnered with Glenelg, who are well supported here today, in defining where we are now and where we want to be. What's the vision? Where do we want to be? And this was the real Kickstarter for us. And importantly, we got it adopted by our council. Very key step. So with that, in that digital strategy, it's again set our why. We wanted to build a local digital ecosystem. And that's a diagram from our digital plan. And it's centred around 4 key pillars: skills and capacity, infrastructure, products and services, and culture. If we can improve those 4 areas, we can build this digital ecosystem, and that's what we've been trying to achieve. The next key step for us was an engagement we actually did with Telstra, and that was great. We've got where we are now and where we want to be. How do we actually do it? What are the stepping stones? What do we actually need to do? What's the order? And how do we navigate through this forest? And that's where the piece of work we had from Telstra, the Smart Community Roadmap, really set the roadmap, the stepping stones for us of what we needed to do. And importantly, it was phased out and it was split down by locality, which was super important for us. This is not just a Hamilton-centric program we're going through. We need to involve our whole community, and to a degree our region is what we're trying to do, bring everyone along. So we've been following that step by step. Next key part, fortunately timing, when we had all this, we were due for a new council plan. When I first started, the council plan that we had, from an IT perspective, I think I had one tie-in to our council plan, and it was something very generic around improved decision making. So every business case I had to put up could only tie into that one improved decision making. With all these strategies that we had in place, and with the new council plan, I've got, I think, about 5 tie-ins now to our council plan around smart communities. They're still building, making better decision makings, but there's a lot of tie-ins that, again, when I'm putting business cases up, they actually make sense now because council have committed to delivering these things. And so, great, I can put up a business case and it's got tied to these 5 objectives that council have committed to, and it's in paper, it's printed, that they were going to do. So been a real key step to help us drive forward. And with having all these things in places, funding, we can't fund it ourselves, we can't. And so when the Smart Cities and Suburbs grant round 1 came about, again, really good timing from our point of view, we had all our ducks in a line. We could go submit to that and say, we've done all the strategy work, we know what we want to do, we just need some help, we need some dollars to make us get there, to help us get there. And so, as I said before, we were successful in that round 1 of the Smart Cities and Suburbs grant. So there was some, I guess, really key steps of how to entrench, I guess, where we wanted to go, the strategy work. What I'll touch on now is some of the solutions that we've been able to do. Connectivity was one of the major areas, stumbling blocks, black holes we had in our digital strategy when it came out. We have very poor connectivity in our region. We've got black spots, this was done, that digital strategy was done as NBN was coming. And so the work that was done in there, the stats we had, we were a low, when you look at Victoria, we're in the low percentage in regards to even people having internet connection at home. And then for those that did it, we're in the low percentage of speed across, Australia and Victoria. So if we want people to be able to digitally transform, connectivity is a major pillar that we needed to address. So we have rolled out public Wi-Fi throughout not only Hamilton but our entire shire. We branded it Connect GH for Connect Greater Hamilton, essentially. And so we have all of our surrounding townships have at least one Wi-Fi spot. Some have multiple. In Hamilton, we've got all of our CBD covered. We've got our Lake Hamilton covered. Melville Oval, here's covered. I should have told you that there's free Wi-Fi here earlier. But yeah, and it's been touched on a few things as well. Connectivity, again, and the uptake of this has been fantastic from our community. I'll show you some stats soon, but it's around the equality thing that was mentioned before. You've got kids that are trying to study that don't have internet connection at home. What they can do now, they're on the bus stops in the local town where the internet is, they can download what they need for the night to go home and then do their homework. They're not left out, they've still got the opportunity to do it, which is great. In regards to how this works and the backbone, we use Ubiquity gear. We've rolled that out throughout the entire shire. So, from a mobile phone, you connect to, we've got 3 types of hardware that you connect into. The top one is a little UFO. I call it a UFO. They're indoors, they're in all of our shire buildings. So again, wherever in your shire buildings, you can get Connect GH. The one in the middle is a meshed AP. They're throughout the CBD, they can go outside. And the one at the bottom is what we've installed a lot in our surrounding townships, where it's the same meshed AP hooked into an Omni antenna, which gives us about a 200-metre radius, so it pushes it out. And when you're looking at a town like Branxholme or Viaduct, it pretty much covers the whole area, which is fantastic. So from them, we've got a lot of NBN connections, so each town has its own NBN connection. In Hamilton, we have 4 powering Hamilton. Goes into the cloud, hooks into the Unify controller for authentication, and then on its way out, we've got filtering through Cisco Umbrella, and then our community can watch their crazy cat videos. So, works. All done by ourselves. We haven't gone out and gone through a partner or a vendor to do this. We got quotes earlier. We couldn't afford it. Well, we had a grant. We could afford it maybe for year 1, but it wasn't going to be sustainable going forward. So, we've been able to build this internally. We support it internally. And our community benefits from it, which is great. And looking at the actual costs to do this, there's some costs of the hardware, NBN connections, $89 to $109. dollars per month. Like Glen Thompson, for instance, we still don't have NBN there, so they're running off a ADSL connection at $89 a month. Unify Controller doesn't cost us anything. The filtering per site, so at each town, one site, it's Hamilton's one site, it's $20 a month for filtering. I put filtering there because we put a policy out to a public-facing policy about IT use, public IT use of our equipment. And it was interesting, I sort of surveyed, I went out on the Yammer network and asked a lot of people, do they just free-for-all public Wi-Fi or do they filter it? It was sort of 50-50, which I was really, it was interesting. I didn't really know what to expect, whether they filter it or not. We've gone down the filtering path, and it's working quite well. So looking across our whole Shire, cost-wise, the biggest cost has been the installation services, not the hardware itself. So, hardware was $14K, installation $23, bit of promotion, and it's, $38K to do what we've done as part of the grant funding. And then it's an ongoing cost of $1.4K per month. And that's a cost that our council is willing to pay for. Sort of look at connectivity like we offer roads or rubbish collection now. It's a service that we're delivering to our community to do that. One thing I will mention, that we did this before the funding, is one of the smartest moves that we've got, and I have to probably credit James for this because I think it was his idea. We put 30-metre communication masks right in the middle of town. The benefit for that is that we can do a lot of point-to-point connections and push this network out to various places throughout Hamilton, which has been great. So we can get Connect GH out to other areas. The other benefit to that is that we can also push out our corporate network. So we're seeing places that, council facilities where staff are, that they haven't been connected. They've been running on 4G SIM cards that cost us a fortune. So our livestock exchange now has corporate connectivity. Our landfill, our Hamilton outdoor swimming pool, and our pound. We can better deliver services out of those places now because we have connectivity, which we haven't had before. And there's just some cost there about what it cost us to put that tower up there. And it's been a really good move for us. So from a connectivity point of view, we own it now, we get all the data, we can now analyse that data. And there's been a lot already talking about today about data-driven decision-making and data and how important that is, and that's really great. And we can do the same thing. And again, cost-wise, we use Unify Controller, I already said, costs us nothing. Node Red, some of you will be familiar with, it's basically it allows us, it's an awesome tool, ETL tool, so we can hook into that data, we can transform it, and we can push it into wherever we want to do with that. And we push it into SQL server. And we've got a virtualized environment. It doesn't cost us anymore to spin up another SQL server to start pumping this data into, so that no cost. The only cost for us is $15 a month Power BI license, and I need to talk to Ben. He said it was 10. I'm getting ripped off. But yeah, and so from that, live demo, scary, we can push data into... Now, I'm no Power BI expert, so hopefully Ben's not here because he looked like he was. I've just picked this up and learnt from the internet, but we can get usage analytics out of our public Wi-Fi system. And so we've only, we've had this up since March, so it is relatively new. But, at relatively no cost, bang, we can see the usage of that. And, if I look at March, we can see that we had 2,500 unique users using this network, which is great. They downloaded nearly 1 terabyte of data in a month. And, I can chop and change this data as you want, and you can see where the biggest usage are. Hamilton is the biggest usage, which is cool. But across all of our, what was I going to say? Any data, it's awesome. And you can see. So look, we can look to hold an event, and based on this data, you can sort of see, have we attracted more people? Are more people connecting into this network? Like today, you've got 150 odd new people to town. And what does that mean to this? Tourism, tourists want to come in. It was talked about earlier about, going to the VIC or the library to get connectivity. They can do that as they come into Dunkeld, for instance, and want to go to the Grampians. It's great. And we can now see some analytics behind it, which is awesome. But looking at pros and cons, pros, cost. It hasn't cost us a fortune. Ongoing is not a fortune. The data is ours, so we can do what we want with it as well, which is awesome. And we're in complete control. New locations. We want to... Like we connected this place up last week or the week before. Great. we can do that ourselves. It's not going to cost us a fortune. We can own our own captive portal, our own terms and conditions, all benefits. On the negative side, we are in complete control. So if something goes wrong, it comes back to us. We had issues. In the CBD, we couldn't work out. We were getting some access points working really well, some were coming off and on again, and we had to invest time and money into what was going on. It worked out we got a bad batch of equipment. The 10 that we bought, all of them had a faulty Ethernet port or something in it, and it took a while to find. But in the end, that's, as much as it took us a lot, and it was a bit of painstaking, it was a lot cheaper than buying the vendor's solution. But it is something you need to be aware of. Are you prepared to take on that cost? From our point of view, I see it as public Wi-Fi. It's great. If it's not working, it's not going to kill anyone, hopefully. It might get a couple of bad reports coming in, but it's public Wi-Fi. Realistically, most people do have SIM cards in their phone and can still get internet. Other people might see it a different way. We had Paul earlier talking about LoRaWAN. I'm staying on the connectivity theme here. Council invested in LoRaWAN back in 2017. I think we were one of the first in Victoria from a council perspective to do it, partnering with Meshed. We started with 4 gateways in Hamilton, Glen Thompson, Coleraine and Penshurst. And this is just some stats up here around how fast this network is growing from when it started in 2015 to 2018. It's a bit old, but 700 cities, 4,500 gateways going around. It is growing amazingly. And I took an old slide and I could actually counted them. This is just looking at Australia. Back in February 2018, there were 148 gateways. Now there's around 341. It got very difficult to count because there's so many clustered together. That's a massive growth in 14 months, and it's just growing and growing and growing. The opportunities for councils in this space to leverage off this network to improve service delivery, because in the end that's what we need to do, is phenomenal. So I'll touch on a few little examples that we've done, but parking we've done, and everyone looks at parking infringement. No, for us it's how's it being used? Let's get that data. It's incredibly hard data to get if we want to send someone out there with a clipboard to see who's coming in and parking. This stuff just captures it by itself, and as Paul said, you're spending less than $200 on the sensor to do it. We have 8 gateways now, and that's sort of an indicative coverage map of us. The big circle comes from the gateway on the bottom left there, which we partnered with Ace Radio and got a gateway on their tower on Mount Bainbridge, which has been fantastic, awesome coverage. We've tried to work with other providers to get gateways at other advantageous spots, but they charge us a bomb. The Ace Radio were fantastic. They didn't charge us anything. They saw the opportunity that we're doing something for the community, more than happy. So, kudos to them. But, in regards to gateways, you can spend up to $3,500 for a gateway, or the top right here, you can spend $230 on a gateway. And we actually used this little one in Tarrington because we just had a small little black spot where we had our weather station. So we put this there. It gives about a 700 metre range. Weather station works. It's great. So, so technically anyone within this range can hook into this network at no cost. They just buy the sensor and they're away. Now, the challenge at the moment, and the technology is still young, so this won't be around forever, but the challenge at the moment is if you've got, say, a farmers next door that go, I want to get involved, how do I do it? You need a bit of technical nous at the moment to be able to hook up the sensors, get the data, find a storage place and do a visualisation over the top. It's not just out of the box. It will be, I believe, in a few years, but it's not there yet. So, we went out as council for an expression of interest earlier in the year to startups, businesses in town to say, who wants to play in this space? Because council don't. We don't want to, well, we can't. We can't be the person that goes to every farm and set you up. So we're fortunate that Jono's Sight Sound Communication is supporting us here. He also owns the local J-Car electronics place in town. He put his hat in the ring. So we're helping to educate him in regards to being that face that the farmers or whoever can go to, and he can procure, configure, install. There you go. So, and that's where I see from council, I guess we're the kickstarters. If we can create that network there. Hopefully we can drag in more people like Jono and other entrepreneurs into our region that can leverage off this, create a new business, create a new app, all this sort of things, because the opportunities are endless. Pros and cons of LoRaWAN. Great site, it's open source and it's free for anyone to use. Paul's mentioned that today, so I won't go too much into it. It is cost effective. It doesn't cost a bomb to get into this and get sensors going. Again, data is ours. We own it, which is fantastic. And it's excellent for rural communities, coverage-wise. In metro, there's lots of these in metro, but they get blocked by buildings. If you're in a rural community and if you've got an advantageous spot with a bit of elevation, from our gateways, we're getting, I think the max ping we've had is about 45 kilometres from the Mount Bainbridge gateway. So, you know, if we can get a few, well, hopefully some farmers might get interested and put a few gateways on their farm, it's just going to grow the network. And I've asterisked these on the other side. The reason why I've asterisked it is because, you know, as I said before, it's not plug and play, no service level, need a storage solution, need a visualization. Asterisk because you can actually pay for, there are solutions where you can pay and pay a subscription model and you can get these out of the box. In regards to no service level, you can pay more and get a service level. So we haven't gone down that path of the council where, I guess, we're taking that in ourselves and I'm upskilling my team to be able to manage this themselves. So we're going the no-cost solution, but there are other options out there. Smart parking, as I said, it's been mentioned, we're trialling it. We're not doing every park. I hope one day we will. We had 25 until Vic Roads ripped up 5. So I think we've got 20 left where we are capturing usage data around, and we used it, which was awesome. We're doing a CBD revitalisation project that Hugh's running from an eco-dev point of view. And we had a consultant company come in and wanted to understand, like, how's the CBD used? And we go, here's the data. There you go. You analyse it. We've got it there. It's not we think or we feel. It is this. It's there, ready to go, which is great. Yeah, so it's awesome. And again, what we do with the parking data, same sort of concept with the Connect GH data, where, you know, except we're pulled down from the Things network, which Paul mentioned before. Again, no cost. Node-RED is open source, no cost. SQL Server, we already have them. Power BI is one option for a visualization platform. You can also we also use as well Grafana, again, open source Grafana, no cost, to do visualization. So that sensor, all that sensor gives us is a timestamp and a 1 and a 0. A 1, a car's there, a 0, car's not there. It's basically a metal detector. But from that, we can, through Node-RED, ingest lat-long data for where they are. We can ingest other data, and then we can visualise it. So I can see these ones up here. These are the ones that are no longer there. Vic Roads ripped them up, sorry. Oh, my mouse is working. But we can start to see usage, heat maps, what parks are used more than not. You know, what day of the week are we busy? 9 to 5 compared to after hours. Again, if we have an event in town, I could use my public Wi-Fi stats and my parking stats to go, what impact has that been on our CBD? Or we might install this at a Dunkeld or something like that. Yeah, but, you know, one thing to note here, you'll see in this bottom left-hand graph, there's a big gap. Is my mouse working? Right there. I mentioned there's no service level. We had an issue. We lost data. Well, we weren't able to capture data for a couple of days. So you need to be mindful and you need to go, what's your use case? Do you need everything working 100% of the time? Fantastic. If you do, you might need to go to an extra service level with LoRaWAN, or might need to look at another technology. Really depends on what you're looking at. Back here. What's next? Pros and cons for LoRaWAN. So yeah, cost, great. This is parking. Easy to install. The ones that we've got, there's lots of parking sensors around. Some you need to embed in the road. These ones you just screw on top, so you don't need to rip up your road, which is awesome. Again, as I said before, access to data that has previously been very difficult to get, and the ability to make data-driven decisions, which is the gold. Cons, not 100% accurate. I put one outside my office window and I actually set a camera on it and looked at all the data and to see a car going. And like if a car trails one that's just leaving, sometimes it doesn't pick it up. So if you're looking to apply this from an infringement point of view, you need to be mindful of that. You might not be 100% accurate. Cons, yeah, understanding by work crews and contractors what they actually are so they don't rip them up is something we've learnt that we need to do. Another solution, people counting. Paul mentioned people counting via LoRaWAN, which is definitely possible. We're using CCTV and analytics, a system called Camlytics, to do people counting, which has been really successful, I think. And again, really low cost to get in it. Camlytics is a software, you can actually get a free version of it, or you can pay the total of $129 US for, that's it, one-time payment for a license. You can put it on existing CCTV cameras if you've got them there. We invested in these tiny little Unify Flex cameras, and there's on the right there is the install in our library. It's right on top of the doorway, which gives a similar look to that bottom left-hand corner. You can draw your little gates, and so you can measure objects that break those gates, and you can see the direction they're going and how many. Previously, we had a door counter on the door opening and closing. So the door opens and it closes, one count. Door opens, 100 people go through, door closes, still one count. This will capture 100 people going through, so more accurate data. We've also put it in one of our laneways, which is off the council building there in the bottom left-hand corner, where we did a activation project in that laneway. If you have the chance, McGugan's laneway near Grey Street, they did artworks on all the on the ground all the way up to activate that, and we put this solution in. Would have been nice to do it a few months before, 1 month before, and we can actually now see, did it make an effect doing that activation? Did it result in anything? Was it worth doing? Should we do it again? Instead of going again, we think, we can go, we know, which is great. Again, that solution, live demo. If I go to that people stuff, I should have practiced this a bit more, sorry, to know where I'm going. There we go, McGugan's Lane. So this is the laneway that we activated, and we activated it at the end of February, and we can see March and April significantly more people went through there. Well, significantly for us, for that little laneway anyway, but we can see how many people, again, which day of the week's the busiest, which direction are they going, what time of day is the busiest. Another pilot that we're committed to as part of our grant, we're just waiting for the hardware to arrive, is smart lighting pilot, which we're going to put in that laneway. So again, we'll have a bit more base data to go. If we actually, now that we've got some artwork there, and if we actually illuminate that laneway better, is that going to see more traffic go through? And again, we will know from the data, which is great. But we've put these in our aquatic centre, which is just up the road here, our library, our performing arts centre, all of our swimming pools, to understand usage of council facilities, usage of assets, gold. I see this going, where I'd really like to see this going, maybe not this technology, but people counting technology, assets, infrastructure, like playgrounds. We've got a lot of playgrounds, and we go, all right, your asset's due for renewal, or business case will go up and we will renew it. We put a new one in there when it's end of life. Playground could hardly be used. We don't know, but we just do it because it's on our renewal plan. If we could have usage data, we've got 3 playgrounds. This one's not used, this one's used heap, this one's not used. How about we scrap those 2 and invest on an awesome playground where people are going? We can get that from the data. Pros and cons of this solution. Cost, unobtrusive, we can leverage off CCTV systems if you already got it there. Great for indoor use. Again, access to data that has previously been incredibly hard to get to, and usage data for council is gold. The cons of this, not so great outside. We've tried it outside for a few times with this particular solution. And things like shadows and things like that just cause a bit of havoc with the data, so you're getting erroneous data. So something to be mindful. But again, it's what problem do you want to solve and where, and finding the right solution for it. Other pilots that we've been doing, weather stations have been touched on. We're in an agricultural era. Everyone loves to talk about the weather. It's a hot topic. So, you know, we have one Bureau of Meteorology station 10 k's north of Hamilton. It's at the airport. Our weather can change or be different from the top half where Balmoral is to the bottom half where Branxholme and Viaduct is. Completely different. And so what we've done is we've invested in 10 of these Atmos weather stations from ICT, who are one of our vendors out there. And so we've put a weather station in each of our local towns, and we're capturing that data, presenting that to our community. We're about to present it to our community. The solution just finished last Friday, so we can give our community this data, open data, free for it, do what you want with it. Localised weather data, which is awesome. Soil moisture sensors, we're going to be doing that we're actually using them on the trial farm that we set up yesterday, but once that's finished, we're going to install them in our botanic gardens and a couple of our sporting ovals, so we can look at the data and hopefully be more water-wise with how we water those places. Only use water when we need to. And top right is a Enviro Pro. That's one that measures every 10 centimetres. We've got a 1.2 metre one, again, soil moisture and temperature. Middle bottom is a bin sensor, which we've ordered for. We're just waiting for delivery from the guys that we've got here as well. We want to put those in our remote bins. So again, be more efficient. Are we travelling 20 minutes to pick up a quarter full bin? Quarter full bin? Yeah, whatever. Let's pick it up when it is full. Let's be more, use our resources more wisely. Smart lighting I talked about, and NAOS, the guys that spoke here earlier, Tim and Jeremy up the back. Awesome solution. Tourism, to be able to, and we hope that there was a little method in my madness in getting these guys here. I would love for our neighbours to invest in this app, because share tourism around everybody. And you know, you can go, what's near me? There might be something in Glenelg. Great, I've come to Southern Grampians, didn't know that was there. Let's travel over there. They go, oh, there's something next door. You know, as I think Ben mentioned before, we're not competing with tourism. We need to promote it and share it. Community platform. So, as I mentioned, we're about to release our weather data. We partnered with Open Data Soft, who was our welcome reception sponsor last night, around a community platform for data. We pretty much just finished this on Friday, so brand new. It's working. connectgh.com.au. Again, we're leveraging that brand. We're going to promote this to our community over the next few weeks, where we are pushing up our weather data and our parking data and a few other data sets. We want to pump a hell of a lot more through here. I just need to get approval from those data sets owners to do that. But as I said, weather, very important. They've created a visualization for us around weather. So this is weather right now around our shire. And I can see that it's 19.7 in Balmoral. In Coleraine at 3:25, it was 19.8. At the moment, they're all very similar, but sometimes they can be quite varied. But yeah, this is going to be, you can get this on your smartphone, have a link to it, bang, it's right there. You can see historic wind direction, wind speed, you can see historical data. You'll see that rainfall's coming soon. We're just working out a few kinks with our rainfall data, but hopefully that will be done soon, so we can release that as well. But a platform that's free for our community to use. And what's cool, APIs. So if someone wants to create their own app or whatever, they can just use the APIs. We're not charging. Do what you want with it. From our community point of view, there's also mapping and charting in here. Community can log in, create their own username and create their own dashboards if they want with this data, which is, you know, it might not happen today, tomorrow, but hopefully we want to build the capacity within our community to want to be able to do this. Everything has been going back to building that local digital ecosystem that I touched on right at the start. And there's things I haven't touched on today. I don't have enough time. I'm already over. Hi, Hugh. But you did. But yeah, everything that we're doing is trying to bring our community along for the ride. And, you know, this event is about that too. You know, starting to publicise, you know, the LoRaWAN network that we've got around. It's great that we're having the smart agriculture stream. Let's see our ag space use this. Let's see our local businesses use this. Hopefully we will see some new businesses pop up, some new people move to town, whatever, more tourism. And the good thing is we should be able to measure it. We can measure some of it. We've still got a lot to do. But yeah, I think that's our journey to date. Thank you.